Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthfication Chronicles, and wow, what a week it has been, and it's still going on, and there are document dumps going on all over the place. I feel like I'm kind of drowning in documents, but I've been going through, several of the news items, and this is going to be another one of those videos where I try to hit several different topics that are coming up, but most of them have to do with document dumps. And I am hopefully going to be able to do this with minimal edits in it. And, just hang with me. I apologize for any of the weird things that may happen, stuttering and stammering and whatever. But I wanted to start with this just to let you know what's going on, because we know there's a lot of censoring. Well, I'm having trouble finding any news that I can do that they don't demonetize. Because look at this. This has been my week right here. You see the yellows? The yellows mean that it's limited or no ads. And so this one was confirmed. This was confirmed. This was confirmed. This was confirmed. This one is still up for review, but I don't have much hope for it. So I really thought this one might make it through okay, because all it was doing was, comparing search engines and stuff. And so, yeah, so much for that. That one didn't make it either, but it may still be monetized. But look how many views it's already kind of lost and everything. I'm surprised they're doing as well as they are, honestly, because usually when they're demonetized, they don't do anything. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not whining about it or anything. I'm just showing you what's going on, because that's news. I mean, a lot of us are dealing with that, those of us who are content creators. And it's, kind of a stressor because when you have a full week like that, the monetary thing is, kind of important, because I do have bills to pay. And when I'm using my energies to do this, I can't use my energies to make other money. So, that's how it works. And this job seems to work pretty well with my chronic fatigue syndrome, because I can rest when I need to. So anyway, this is the first great big document dump that we're talking about. And it is the Project Veritas one. It has all of these different folders that you can download. All of the links are going to be down below, so you can, download the stuff on your own, look through it, because we need a lot of eyes on this. We need lots of people to take portions of this that they're interested in and to really go through these documents very carefully. Now, I've seen a few of them, but there's so much, and I haven't even downloaded all of them yet. So that's been going on. Oh, and then I wanted to give you a little update on Terrence K. Williams, because, he's really gotten slammed a lot. But, President Trump did make a little thing about him and talk about how he called him like reliable, or not reliable, but well known or something like that, and well respected. Oh yeah, that was it, was respected. So, he was very excited about that. And it's just kind of crazy what's been going on. He says, "I was poor and lived in foster homes, and now I'm doing good. Anderson Cooper belittled me on TV, mocked my success. He's mad President Trump bragged about my 500K followers and saying I'm well respected." And this little thing here, I love it. Anderson Cooper's over here, and then he's sitting there just having a little drink while he's listening. He just has such a great sense of humor. If you don't know him, really, you need to read through his tweets. And so, yeah. He dissed me on CNN. He's mad because President Trump said I was highly respected. Trump complimented me and Cooper talked down about me. But Trump is racist? No. Sounds like Cooper is the racist one. And really, one of the things he points out in this is that Anderson Cooper doesn't use his name, and only seems to use the names of black people when they've been shot or when they've been hurt some way by white people. And, that's just so disrespectful. Anyway, if you go on down here, there was one that I wanted to point out. Yeah, that was a good one too, that he did. And they're short, so you can watch several of them. I like this one right here. He says, thank y'all for sticking up for me. I thought the Black Lives Matter movement was going to defend me, but instead, some of the members are wishing death upon me. I wonder why my black life doesn't matter to them. White liberals threatened me, so why haven't Al Sharpton called? So, it's just, that's true. So I'll leave the link to his Twitter feed down below. And again, even if you're not signed up with Twitter, if you're not a member of Twitter, you'll still be able to see his tweets. You can go to the link that I'll provide and it will still show it to you. It'll look a little bit different because you get to see the old version, which I like so much better than this one. But hey, you know, what can you do? And of course, here's Donald Trump, and he was making his tweets and had done some very good, interesting tweets today. He had one about the deputy editor of the failing New York Times was just demoted, should have been fired, totally biased and inaccurate reporting. The paper is a fraud, zero credibility, fake news takes another hit, but this time a big one. I videoed this for a little bit because within the first minute, I caught it like within the first minute, and I opened up my program and started recording. You should have seen it clicking, man. It was just going 1,000 after 1,000 after 1,000. It just kept bumping up all the time, and within a minute or two, there were several thousand likes on it. So I find that very encouraging. There are a lot of people out there who are supporting our POTUS. Yay. So I wanted to point this out to you too, because a lot of times in both POTUS's tweets and the tweets I was, reading about Terrence K. Williams, some of the comments about him, if you go in and you look for the hashtag protect Terrence K. Williams, it's amazing what you'll see. I mean, it really is. It's sad because there are so many hateful people from the left on there. Well, I've been watching some of these Steven Crowder videos here where he says, change my mind. And I really like the way that he does this because he doesn't get people all riled up and they actually have a very civil conversation. And I think it's important for those of us who are, on the right and, in the Trump camp, I think it's really important for us to see videos like this because we need to hear what their point of view is. Too many times I run into people who are on the right and all they do when somebody says something wrong, they just jump all over them, or something they disagree with. I shouldn't even say wrong. It's something they disagree with. And they just jump all over them. And I've seen people on the left do the same thing. I mean, it goes back and forth. And instead, if people would just step back and say, well, can you tell me why you believe that way? Because people have reasons for what they believe. Now, it may be a silly reason, or it may be a very serious, well thought out reason. And, I don't have a whole lot of respect for people who just say it and don't have any clue about it. But if you can say it and, if you can question them along those lines, you can get people thinking about why they believe what they believe. Is it that you believe that Trump is a racist? Well, I believe he's not a racist. Change my mind. Tell me why you think there's reasons to support your point of view. And I think if we would approach things that way, we'd get a lot further because, the old saying, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And sometimes we forget that. We have 2 ears. Let's listen twice as much as we speak sometimes. And so if we would listen to other people, we'd find out why they believe what they believe. And a lot of times, if you really talk to people from the left, you'll find out that we're not all that far apart. It's the media rhetoric that has changed that and tried to make us believe that we're much farther apart than we are. Most of us just want to have, a decent life and to live without being bothered and just let us live our lives. So anyway, I thought this was interesting. This lady right here was a German who was currently living, I think she said, in the Netherlands. So that was a very interesting conversation. And then the second one was a black lady who was saying that, Trump was racist. But then when he got her talking about it, come to think of it, she did not see racist things in a lot of the things that he said. And it was just very interesting. I will tell you, though, that this particular video, there's a crazy guy who was standing off to the side, like over here somewhere. And there is another video about that if you want to see the one with the crazy guy in it. But he was just yelling really loud. And sometimes it was hard to focus on what they were saying because that guy's loud noise was just babbling and yelling. And, it just most of them are not like that. That one was hard. And it's too bad because both of the women that he had on here, I thought they did a really good job, and they were open to discussing what was going on. And this one, actually, with this lady, it started getting pretty hot. She started getting really ticked off, but he de-escalated it in a really good way and toned her back down. And they actually had a very good conversation. So I wanted to point that out to you in case you don't know those. I do think it's important for us to listen to what the others have to say instead of always just being so quick to tell them why they're wrong. Nobody likes to hear that. That is the perfect way to get people on the defensive. If you really want people to be open to hearing what you have to say, you got to step back and you got to, give them a chance to speak their mind and tell you why they believe what they believe. Okay, the next one, this is something about Epstein. I thought this was interesting. He was taken off suicide watch at his lawyer's request. His lawyer was the one that requested him to be taken off. I have no idea why. But that's what this says. So I thought I'd share that with you just in case you may not have seen this particular one. But it's weird, the nice, I keep saying nice. It's not nice, okay? But the interesting thing about this is that, yes, these people are all questioning what happened to Epstein. And it's not just on one side. Everybody's asking for it because, look at this, even Jerry Nadler wants to know, let's find out what happened. So he's sending this off. This is the guy, Hugh Hurwitz, who is the acting director of the Bureau of Prisons. And a lot of times Bureau of Prisons, they abbreviate BOP. So when you hear BOP, that's what they're referring to. So both of them, chairman and ranking member of the House Committee on the Judiciary, we write concerning the news as provided in a statement by Attorney General William Barr and a press release subsequently issued by the Bureau of Prisons that Jeffrey Epstein was found dead from an apparent suicide on the morning of August 10th and while in your custody. And then they ask a bunch of questions here. And I think they're legitimate questions, believe it or not, even coming from Jerry Nadler. The funny thing is, Jerry's coming at it from a point of view, he thinks Trump's behind it. He thinks Trump was the one that killed Epstein. And it's like, yeah, Trump had no reason to. Because Trump's not indicted in any of the stuff that has come out. His name was, I don't think it was even mentioned in the documents that were released, the 2000 documents. More document dump. Oh, there's just been so many. So, Trump has no reason because Trump is not guilty of this stuff. He was not involved. And so you go through, you have this, and I don't think I have it up, but Bill Clinton posted about, Bill Clinton posted about this, and he was, not about this. He posted about the thing that was going on in Philadelphia with the police and the holdup guy and, everything. And the comments on there were just well worth reading. They were interesting, but I'm going to touch on one of those in just a minute. So anyway, I also wanted to remind you of this. This happened on August 14th. I'm telling you, so much stuff has been happening. Doug Collins gave a statement on the D.C. court's decision not to link McGahn and the grand jury cases because, you see, they wanted those put together so they would have more leverage to try to get things released, the unredacted parts of the Mueller report they want to get released. And they thought that somehow using McGahn and lumping McGahn in with the other stuff was all going to work out for him. It didn't. And the judge ruled against him. So here is his statement. Basically, he just says, I applaud Chief Judge Howell's decision today. As the Chief Judge found, Chairman Nadler's pending cases involve distinct issues of law and fact and should not be combined. As I've been saying for months, Democrats have not begun an impeachment inquiry against the president. Until the full House votes to authorize such an inquiry, that status will not, indeed cannot, change. The chairman's public statements notwithstanding. These two lawsuits are separate and distinct from each other, as Chief Judge Howell's ruling makes clear. So, see, Jerry Nadler, in case you haven't seen, he's been going around saying, we've begun an impeachment inquiry against the president. No, they haven't. The House has to vote on it. They haven't done that. So, there you go. But this is what something happened in the House Homeland Security Committee, again, using Twitter to serve legal notice almost. But they wanted to let everybody know that they issued a subpoena to 8chan owner Jim Watkins for testimony on our work countering extremist content on social media. Yeah, okay. Where's their subpoena for Instagram? Because remember, Instagram is where that manifesto was first posted from the El Paso shooter. And it says at least 3 acts. Nope, that's not right. See, at least 3 acts. No, no, no. And they even blamed the one in Oslo just a couple days ago on 8chan. And it's like, 8chan's been down for a week. Duh. So anyway, I just thought it was very interesting that, again, they post it on the Twitter board. I mean, it's just like... So here is the announcement of it, and you can actually see a copy of the subpoena if you want to there. And so, yes, we have subpoenaed him. But you know what? He already said in that video that he was planning on being there. I mean, he was going to talk to his lawyers first, but he had planned on being there. There was no reason why he shouldn't be there. And so... yeah, so they subpoenaed him again. They can't just let people come. They got to subpoena him. Well, of course, you probably, by now, I'm sure you've all heard this, that, yeah, the hyoid was broken. And if you ever watched these CSI type shows like Bones, I was thinking of that because they always used to talk about the broken hyoid and all this. So, yeah, you know, there's suspicion. And what I find interesting is because it's on both sides. Everyone is saying, yeah, this is suspicious. We don't think this guy committed suicide. But I think it's fun that it's on both sides. And that's interesting because now they're both invested in getting to the bottom of it. Now we'll find out what happens because they want to pin it on Trump, and there's no way it's going to be pinned on Trump. And if it ends up being pinned on who we think it is, that could be really good. Well, speaking of the pair, check it out. Okay, I saw this and I thought this surely has to be a Photoshop joke. Oh my goodness. Really? Yes. No, folks, this is real. This is real. You have not gone insane. This is a painting of Bill Clinton in this blue dress that looks very similar to this blue dress. And kind of high cut there with the red shoes on. And guess where it is? Yeah, this was in Jeffrey Epstein's apartment. So, this is just scary. I mean, that is such a scary picture. Plus, look at this. You see this? That means this was painted to have taken place in the Oval Office. Yep, folks, that's what the painting is. And it's quite large. I mean, it's not a small painting. And there is somewhere, there's a picture of the artist that painted it. I can't remember. Oh, it's just scary. Oh, it's just creepy. Creepy. Oh, I guess this is the room or something that it was in, and this is showing the, you know, it's big. I mean, it's a big painting. Oh, just, yeah, scary, scary. Always scary. So, oh, creepified. I mean, I almost had nightmares after I saw that. Oh, and there's the thing about, you know, at least Jerry Nadler wants to know the truth. Will he accept the truth when we get it? I doubt it. But anyway, this is on the Daily Mail. So I thought I would point that out. Oh, it just, get away from it. My eyes. Anyway, on this poll I thought was really interesting because he says it very well. Poll question: if a family member or friend was unfortunately killed or hurt in an accident caused by a drunk driver, would you blame the drunk driver, the alcohol, or the vehicle? And guess what? 97% of the people said drunk driver. Because that's it. And that's, you know, 6,437 votes. That's quite a bit. So it's not like it's a small amount of people. But anyway, so let's go on. I told you I got lots on this. These are really the heart of things, more document dumps, and it has to do with the Bruce Ohr 302s, which was a document dump too. I mean, I can't get through it all, folks. I'm trying, but it's just like, I feel like, which one do I start with? I got all these different things to look at, and I don't know which one. So, I I've been trying. I download them and put them on into a PD, they're PDFs usually, and I send them to my Kindle, and then my Kindle will read them to me. And so I usually go to the park and just put my earphones on and, sit there and crochet while I'm listening to all these documents. Yeah. But there's just not enough time in the day almost to do this. So, just think it's weird. Anyway, this Bruce Ohr conversations, this article right here is very good. I like the Epoch Times because they always give you links to things and other documents. And like if there's a document dump, they'll give you a link to that. And so like here is the link to the document dump of these 302s. Now, the 302s themselves are here, and I just wanted to point something out to you. This is 38 pages. That particular article deals with the Bruce Ohr 302s, but Judicial Watch also got his notes that he wrote, and that's in a separate file. And there was something else. Oh, big thing about Nellie Ohr, his wife. They had like 300 and some pages on that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, this one right here is only 38 pages, and I wanted to show you, in case you're not aware of how they do things, when they redact things, which they always seem to do, they give you information here on how they're going to redact things. And right here are the codes that they refer to. So when you're looking at the document and you see something's been redacted, it will have out to the side, and usually in the right hand column, it'll have something like this, B1 or B2 or whatever. And that tells you which of these reasons it was redacted. Wouldn't it be nice if like YouTube would give us something like this when they demonetize a video, and they would have a list of criteria and they would say it was demonetized for this specific reason, so we'd be able to like understand. But oh no, it's just willy-nilly sometimes. I honestly think it's whoever we get that reviews that particular file, because sometimes things that I'm don't think is going to go through, it does. And sometimes I think there should be no problems, like the one this morning, and there's problems. So anyway, going on. These are all the different reasons. Now, some of the stuff, a lot of the things I think in this particular one are personnel and medical files and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. That happens a lot in these, but you can go back and you can check, which is really kind of nice because you need to know why it was redacted. And I appreciate them doing that. But anyway, these are the ones that they have. And Bruce Ohr, it always starts out with this paragraph right here, all of them. And I believe that they now know that the person he was dealing with was Pientka, Agent Pientka. And I did a couple of videos that mentioned Pientka because nobody's really talking about this guy, and it seems like he did an awful lot in this whole Russian collusion narrative thing. So I'm kind of wondering where he's at and why he's not been more of a center of some of the investigations. So anyway, it starts out and it says like Bruce Ohr, and then it has this big space here, and this is one of them that supposedly is B6, which means personnel, or it's more private matter. I don't know why. There's something here that they always block out. Currently, the Associate Deputy Attorney General and Director of the Department of Justice's, get this, you may not know this about Bruce Ohr, but he was the Director of the Department of Justice's Organized Crime and Drug Enforcement Task Force. It's OCDEF. I think it's OCDEF, something like that. This is what they usually say. Was interviewed at FBI headquarters after being advised of the identity of the interviewing agent and the nature of the interview, or provided the following information. So they all start with this. But I just think it's weird. Well, not weird, but I think it's kind of interesting that he was the director of this part of the DOJ, because that's a lot of power right there. That person needs to have their nose extremely clean because they're dealing with organized crime and drug enforcement. I mean, those are two huge, huge, huge issues. So Anyway, you've got this document, and I wanted to show you down here on page 6 is the first place I want to show you. It's kind of hard to read sometimes because so much of it is redacted, but if you read this article from Epoch Times again, you will find out that they have pieced together from his testimony and everything. They've actually filled in a lot of the blanks. So or at least they have really good guesses at what they are. But here's something I thought was really kind of astonishing. Ohr's wife is a Russian translator and was hired to conduct open source research. Now, we know she was researching for Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS, but she was a Russian translator. And we also know now that she worked at the farm, which was the CIA training thing, in 2008, I believe. And I don't know how long. It never says how long she worked with the CIA, but she's a Russian translator. How common is that? No, not very common. Although I do know I have a friend, there's a teacher I worked with who actually does know Russian, and she knows it very well. So I don't know. It's kind of odd. You don't find a lot of people that know Russian, and probably most of you don't know anyone who knows Russian. I just happen to have a really weird teacher friend, but no, she's not involved in anything like that. I don't think. I don't know. She's really smart. She's like a genius, so she could, but I kind of doubt if she'd be working at the school that I worked at, because it was not a very big school and it wasn't really highly profitable to work there. That's for sure. So low income. But anyway, I wanted to show you that because I thought that's just a very interesting little fact that we have there, that she was a Russian translator. Just, very interesting. Okay, and then I want to go to page 13. So I'm kind of taking you through some highlights, a few of them here. You're welcome to read the whole thing if you want to. But again, some parts of it are really hard to read. Then this part right here, Glenn Simpson at Fusion GPS hired Ohr's wife, Nellie Ohr, to conduct research for his firm. And again, we all know that. Ohr voluntarily provided his wife's research to the FBI. Right there. I mean, it just clearly says it. He's the one that they're getting this information from. This is him talking to Agent Pienka. And this is Agent Pienka's notes after they talked. This is the 302. So he volunteered that information. Yeah, I gave my wife's research to the FBI. What a conflict of interest, first of all. And, it's just, anyway. And here it says Nellie Ohr is a Russian linguist, analyst, and a former Russian history professor. Wow. She just really was into Russia. Wow. So anyway, and then we're going to go to page 15 here that has another little tidbit that I found as I was reading. And this has to do with Senator John McCain's office, because if you read through this article, they will point out that the timeline-wise, McCain's office knew about the Steele dossier much sooner than what they had claimed. So McCain was in on it from much earlier than, what was said. McCain was not a nice guy. We know that, right? Okay. And then the last one I'm going to show you on this is from page 18. And this has to do with, on January 30th, 2017, the Trump administration fired Acting Attorney General Sally Q. Yates. I always think it's funny that her middle name is Q, that she has this Q in the middle. And Steele had contacted Ohr to determine if Ohr anticipated being fired as well. So, she gets fired and they call up Ohr and hey, are you going to get fired too? Dude, you're in trouble. I mean, I just can't even imagine the climate in that Department of Justice right then. That's just incredible to me. Because Ohr was very highly placed. Again, he was the director of that OSIDEF thing. That's pretty huge. So, anyway, I just think it's kind of funny that they asked him if he was anticipated being fired. And if so, who in the Department of Justice could he continue to reach out to? So, Steele's like, dude, You gonna get fired? You gotta hook me up with somebody else, man. I want to get this dirt on Trump so he can get out. I don't like Trump. I want to get him out. That's really what was going on. And Ohr says here that he previously explained to Steele at some point his contact with the U.S. government would have to involve the FBI. So Steele was trying to keep going through Ohr, but Ohr was, according to Ohr, remember, he said that he was trying to get Steele to go through the FBI. But it wouldn't have mattered. They'd have worked with him anyway. It's just, I think they wanted the credibility of having somebody in the DOJ, because if they went through somebody in the DOJ, especially somebody that high up, it gave more weight to what Steele was telling them. And it gave them a little bit of buffer, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it also talks about Kathleen Kavalek, who was the Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs, U.S. Department of State, would be meeting some representatives in order to discuss potential Russian influence in their upcoming presidential elections. So, Ohr reminded the interviewing agents Kavalek did speak with Steele several times prior to the 2016 U.S. presidential election and believes Steele's reporting to have generated from mainly, we don't know, but I'm kind of guessing maybe mainly Russians. I don't know. But I thought it was very interesting. And if you know the whole story about Kavalek, she actually called him out on a few things. I mean, she was the one that pointed out that there was no, a Russian embassy or something in Florida somewhere. And she said, they don't have one there. So she was very skeptical about the Steele things. And so I think it's interesting that they point this out here and that, Ohr mentioned her. So anyway, those are the big things that I found as I was going through it. But like I said, a lot of it, you'd have to go through it a little with more of a finer tooth comb than I did, because I kind of scanned and check out why certain things were redacted. But that's kind of what Epoch Times here has done, that they went through, and compared it also to Ohr's testimony. So that was released. So, there's just a lot there. And then here's an Epoch Times one on Nellie Ohr, and it deals more with the work that she did and the 300 or so pages that they got of her work for Fusion GPS and just emails back and forth. And, she was targeting Manafort, and she put out some kind of email or something, I can't remember what, but it was several months before Manafort, resigned from the Trump campaign. And it was almost like prophetic, like she knew he was going to be ousted. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, that's interesting. That's new. Epstein's body claimed by associate. Anyway. So, that link will be down below. You can read that. Anyway, then I went to Judicial Watch, and here is the article. New DOJ docs show Nellie Ohr sent DOJ FBI anti-Trump Russia dossier materials through her husband, Bruce Ohr, which, we kind of really already know that. But there were 330 pages of Justice documents, Justice Department documents showing Bruce Ohr, who was demoted from his position as U.S. Associate Deputy Attorney General in December 2017, discussing information obtained through his wife, Nellie Ohr. This information included anti-Trump dossier materials, including a spreadsheet that tries to link President Trump to dozens of Russians. And I watched a video, I actually watched a video that was a recording of the Hannity radio show yesterday. And he had John Solomon on there. And John Solomon said that if you look at that spreadsheet, it's ludicrous. It's just, anybody that read it would say, why would you ever believe anything this person has to say? Because it's just, the connections that she was trying to make are just crazy. But anyway, so those 332 72 pages. Well, there's 330 pages, but there were 332, but for some reason they didn't release 2 of them that they thought they had to be completely redacted. So, but yeah, I haven't gone through any of these yet, but I thought I'd throw it out there for you. But, you know, from what I saw, I just scanned the first few pages, and it looks like some different emails that went back and forth, and maybe some text messages later on. Well, you know, there's probably a text message here because it says smartphone. So anyway, I will leave the link to that down below. And again, I can't do it all myself. I hope some of you will take some of these documents and you'll be looking at them too, because if we all start looking at them, you know, we can really work together and find out things that one person alone can't do. This was 72 pages of documents from the U.S. Department of Justice containing Russia-related emails sent from Nellie Ohr to high-ranking DOJ official Lisa Holton. At the time, Ohr worked with the anti-Trump dossier firm Fusion GPS. So it was going through, see, the DOJ and some of the State Department. It was all of these. They were going on. And it's just crazy how it permeated the entire intelligence community and these different departments. I mean, it's scary crazy, because this is corruption, just massive corruption in our Department of Justice and our State Department. It's just, it almost stuns me when I talk about it, because just incredible. But anyway, here are the 73 pages, and you can, well, 72 actually. It says 73, but that's because there's this cover page that goes with it. So again, there you go. But I will tell you, this one is almost all in Russian. So unless you read Russian, you're going to have trouble with this. So, oh, look, that says Mitt Romney, I think. Right here. I think that says Mitt Romney. Because, you know, Russian letters look a little different, but I think that's what that says. So, I don't know. It's Russian to me. I don't speak Russian. Yeah. Oh, Twitter. I understood Twitter. There we go. I mean, I like languages and everything, but Russian is not one that I've ever studied. So, it's just, yeah, I do better with Greek. Oh, that looks like Obama. I wonder if that means Obama. I don't know. But just, yeah, I mean, it's like everything. There are a few English words here and there, you know, a few sentences, but yeah, you really, I think, have to read Russian to understand much of this. I mean, right here's a paragraph, the whole thing's in English, but anyway, Trump is not like Zhirinovsky. I hate Russian names. They're always so big and long, and I never can pronounce them. He's from a different environment. He doesn't go into detail. Rykov says that if you listen to, say, a speech Trump gave in Michigan, you see he really was saying what is important to ordinary people. Yeah, but what we dare not say aloud. Well, that's true. Also, he knows how to speak directly to the people through media without journalists in the way. Yep. And he makes non-standard decisions. Yep. In other words, his statement thanking the protesters for caring about their country disarmed them. First, he initially said they were paid, and only then did his advisors talk him down into the milder statement. I don't know. Anyway, so just, it's mostly Russian. And so I don't know that you'll get a whole lot out of this one, but there it is. I'm going to give you the links and you can look into it as much as you want. I'm sure you could probably copy and paste and put into like Google Translate or something and find out what it is. But, oh, by the way, with the Google documents, I did look into one file and they had the thing with Kofefe, you know, because Kofefe was Arabic that meant I will stand or I will stand up or something like that. And, Trump had been to Saudi Arabia shortly before that occurred. And so that's where he kind of picked it up, I think, from. And when he posted it, it makes perfect sense if you read it with that in mind. Well, in the document, the Google document, it shows that they manipulated how that would be translated in Google Translate. And so it was, I mean, it's definite. It says it very clear and very plainly that they don't want that coming up to be equated with that phrase in Arabic. So they wanted to make sure that when people put in kofefe, that it would come up as just some symbols. So thought that was interesting too. But anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I know I went through a lot of stuff. Your head's probably spinning. Mine is too. But there's just so much going on. And probably by the time, I refresh the pages and I go back to Twitter and everything, it's all going to be different. There's going to be more. Because John Solomon said that he expected today, which is, I'm recording this on Thursday, he expected that another Horowitz report was going to come out on Comey. And this one was going to be for the FISA abuses, maybe. But something a little more serious than what the other one was, or more detailed. And he also, it was very interesting because Solomon pointed out that, even though Comey wasn't hit on that first one, okay, because it was just too weak of a case, and it would make the DOJ look really bad if they lost that case against Comey. So it was not worth taking the hit, especially knowing what's coming down the pipeline. So Comey is going to be hit with these bigger charges, and they figured, let's not take the risk of losing a charge against him, and let's just go put all of our energies and resources into making sure that we've got everything all taken care of, and this guy's going to get nailed for something else. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. And it appears that there is supposed to be some report coming out today, which is Thursday. That's when John Solomon expected it. And that will be from Horowitz. But the big reports are going to come out in September, probably, because that's when we're going to get the major Horowitz report about the FISA abuse. But it couldn't come out yet. It was going to come out earlier. But then all of a sudden a bunch of people started going, oh, this is going to come out and I'm going to look really bad because I have testified. Otherwise, I better make sure that my testimony is amended so I don't get stuck, proven lying to the Department of Justice, the FBI, whoever. So Horowitz had this big bunch of people that all came to him and wanted to talk to him suddenly and testimony, give different testimony or at least some testimony. So they're trying to cover their butts, I think. And I think he got swarmed at the last minute when it was, it became reality that those documents were definitely coming out. And this stuff is going to come out to the American public. So that's what delayed that report, the Horowitz report. But also keep in mind, Horowitz cannot talk to people outside of the Justice Department. His purview is solely to find out when people in the Justice Department do things wrong. They don't follow procedures or they commit criminal acts. When it comes to people outside of the Justice Department, that's where Durham is coming in. And I think also Huber, because those two had to be paired up with Horowitz because Horowitz has the over 470 staff members to help with the investigations and preparing cases and things. But they needed somebody who had a wider, broader scope who could go outside of the Department of Justice. And that was the really important part. So besides that, Solomon also said that, one of the things that we have to remember is that Durham Durham's staff at least, is currently overseas. And they are investigating things there. So I think that is huge, that they have that, and have all of it coming together, and it's starting to come to a head. Everything is going to start pouring on the coals, if you want to say it that way, when it comes to all this stuff coming out. It's been crazy. Like I said, this particular video, that's what I'm doing. I'm showing you how, wow, Everything is just kind of running rampant now. You get news all over the place. There's so much of it. Document dumps are suddenly coming out. I don't think that's by, just a coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidences at this point. It is by design, everything's starting to come out. I also want you to remember one more thing, that definitely there is a reason why some of this has been delayed. It really does have to do with the 2020 election, because if the dirt comes out too early, I mean, this sounds silly and it sounds bad, but this is the way it works. If the dirt comes out too early before the election, people have such a short memory, they will forget by the time the election comes around. But we can't let that happen this time. It has to be fresh in everybody's memory. And that's why I think some of this has been delayed and will probably string out until, well, probably next summer. So I think we're going to see all of this happening slower than we want it to happen. But part of the reason for that is it needs to build to the crescendo, which will lead to people going, there's no way in this world any Democrat is ever going to be elected again. So that's, what I think on that. And I thought it was interesting. John Solomon kind of mentioned that a little bit, he and Hannity, when they were talking back and forth. So I would give you the link to that, but it's not a Fox News one. So I guarantee that if I give you the link and y'all start going there, it's going to be taken down. That's just how it works, because it's not a copyright thing. It has to be fair use. Fair use is only little clips here and there, and they have to be within the scope of using them as to comment on. So, you can't just take one and post it. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.